really going to go into vaping. What is it? What's in a vape? Is it harmful? What is the evidence and studies around there? Is it better to vape or smoke cigarettes? It's going to be a really good, informative show. So if you vape or someone you know vapes, this is where you're going to get the best information out there. All right, everyone, welcome to Heal Thyself. I have a show for you today. How many times have you been in conversation with someone and then at the corner of your eye, you see someone kind of like nod down, put their face into their hand, and then smoke comes out of their mouth. And you're like, what the hell was that? People be vaping everywhere. You see it in the mall, you see it at the restaurant, you see it at work, you see it outside your work, you see it, people doing it in the car. Man, I see it everywhere. I remember the first time I saw it, I was really trying to figure out what was happening because I didn't see a cigarette in someone's hand. And for me, they sort of just came out of nowhere. So I'm really gonna go into vaping. What is it? What's in a vape? Is it harmful? What is the evidence and studies around there? Is it better to vape or smoke cigarettes? It's gonna be a really good, informative show. So if you vape or someone you know vapes, this is where you're gonna get the best information out there. Not only about vaping, I'm gonna give you some goods. I can't just give you a problem without giving you some solutions. I'm gonna give you some of my favorite interventions for strengthening your lung health. Some of my favorite natural interventions for strengthening your lung health, your respiratory health. Even if you're exposed to vapes, secondhand exposed to vapes, or it's just cold and flu season, we wanna make sure we're protecting ourselves the best as possible. So we're gonna list those 2023 recommendations. Get ready for Heal Thyself, get comfortable, get your notepad out. It's gonna be a good one. All right, Knowledge Bomb segment, we are going into vapes. So I want you to take a moment and think about, see if you can, think about the first time you saw someone vaping, right? I think for me, it might have been right around college or a little bit after college. If I recall clearly, I seen this guy right around the bookstore, just reach down his head into his hand and take a puff, and a big cloud of smoke comes out, and I noticed it was a very different behavior than seeing someone smoke a cigarette, right? The vaping behavior or the vaping cigarette pull is very different than the traditional cigarette. It's the sort of like, I'm really obscure in this, no one really knows what I have in my hand, and it's really on the down low. It's really interesting, but you may remember, and you may know what I'm talking about. Vaping has taken over, especially in the youth. And it posed some questions for me. I don't vape. I don't really know anyone who vapes, but I know there's research out there. It's rolling out more and more. So we really want to make sure that if we are vaping, or we know someone who's vaping, or someone who's addicted, even worse, to vapes, that they have the best informed consent. Because vaping companies ain't giving you the best informed consent. Just look at cigarette companies as a model. So how long has vapes been around? Well, quite a while. If you think back to 2003, I don't remember seeing a vape in 2003, but in 2003, there was a Chinese pharmacist, and he developed the first device known to serve as basically an alternative to conventional smoking. And this was, voila, the first e-cigarette. And e-cigarettes are interesting. They're basically devices which have this liquid solution in there that becomes heated up enough into a temperature that becomes aerosolized and inhaled, right? And when you look at that, it seems sort of benign enough, right? There's liquid water, maybe some flavoring, and it aerosolizes, and it's the best alternatives to cigarettes, right? But it's not water vapor. It's not water vapor. It's not water vapor. It's not flavored water vapor. There's a lot of crap in e-cigarettes. So there's different substances that have been identified in e-cigarette liquids and aerosols, including nicotine, which isn't surprising. There is some nicotine in e-cigarettes. And actually some of them have more nicotine than cigarettes in itself. Some of them have lower amounts, and some of them even have amounts when they say no nicotine, they do contain it. So just to get ahead of that and know. But it also contains different solvent carriers, and these are where we begin to see problems. So how's your life been lately? It feels like mine's been a never-ending hustle. In a good way. But it's a constant juggling of responsibilities, endless to-do lists. It can seem impossible sometimes. And I'm not even talking about the effects of being overwhelmed, like sleeplessness or reduced productivity or suffering with your immune system. It's the stress that slowly starts infiltrating your life and silently starts robbing you of magnesium. This is a vital nutrient that your body depends on. It's the vicious stress magnesium deficiency cycle. In simple terms, stress strikes, your body loses magnesium, sleep becomes elusive, energy and productivity plummet, and stress levels skyrocket, and more magnesium escapes your body. So how do you break this cycle? I found a game changer. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. Magnesium Breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium, which may support stress management by promoting muscle relaxation, regulating your nervous system, controlling your stress hormones, enhancing brain function, boosting energy, and overall just improve sleep. The way I do it, I take 2 right before bed, boom, I'm out. You're going to notice that your sleep is going to be better and you're going to be able to pull away from that cycle and you have nothing to lose. Bioptimizers is so confident in their products that they offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. If you don't see the results, you simply claim a refund, no questions asked. It's a win-win. Visit magbreakthrough.com/DRG. Enter the code DRG10 to get 10% off of any order. And for a limited time only, receive special gifts with purchase. This offer is only available through magbreakthrough.com/DRG. Do not miss the opportunity to improve your overall health and wellness. Thank you, Birch Living, for sponsoring today's video. Birch makes mattresses that are crafted with organic and natural materials, sustainably sourced here in the United States. The Birch Natural Mattress was just awarded the best mattress of 2023 by US News out of 340 mattresses by expert testing. Other mattress companies use this fiberglass as flame retardants. There ain't no fiberglass in the Birch mattress. So you can sleep comfortably knowing you're not breathing in any of these harmful irritants into your respiratory system throughout the life of the bed. Now, for me, it was important to choose a mattress that came organic and had all the natural materials so I can sleep easy. The thing I love most about Birch is that it has 2 very important certifications, Green Guard Gold certified and GOTS certified. These are important certifications that let us know that this is a high quality mattress. I've had my Birch mattress for over 2 years and I love it. I even got one for my dad. He also loves it too. With your Birch mattress, you get a 100-night sleep trial along with a 25-year warranty. The best part about all this is that Birch delivers straight to your door, free within the United States. And they also offer in-home setup and removal to make your buying experience as convenient as possible. Comes rolled up in a box, super easy. If you're looking for a new mattress, go get the Birch Living mattress. It's birchliving.com/heal-thyself to get 20% off the Birch mattress plus 2 free Eco Rest pillows. For your little ones, check out the Birch Kids Natural Mattress, which is a 2023 Good Housekeeping Parenting Award winner. There's different solvent carriers like propylene glycol and glycerol. We also see things like tobacco-specific nitrosamines. We see aldehydes that we can also see in cigarette smoke, heavy metals that we also see in cigarette smoke, volatile organic compounds, which I talk about in the context of just environmental toxins, the things we breathe in, that we also see in cigarette smoke. Phenolic compounds, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which we see in cigarette smoke and charred meats. Different flavorings, which we don't necessarily see in cigarette smoke, and tobacco alkaloids and other drugs. So when you think about an e-cigarette, again, it's not just water and flavor. It's a lot of those things that I just mentioned. But we also see different chemicals, including phthalates. So now all of a sudden we're talking about a soup, not just water, flavored water, scented water. We're talking about a soup of different chemicals that are being heated and combusted, and you're aerosolized and you're putting into your body, into your lungs, which is a very efficient way of getting it into your blood. So these phthalates that are in here are known to cause hormone disruption, but they also affect different systems, the nervous system, gastrointestinal. We know it affects the brain. So when we start looking at the big picture, it starts getting a little bit more tumultuous. Some of the key metals that we see in e-cigarettes are chromium, nickel, lead, manganese, aluminum, tin, iron, even cadmium, which we oftentimes see in cigarettes. And a lot of these are found in the devices usually have these metal coils, which are leaching into the liquid and are being aerosolized into the body. So essentially, here you have a source of heavy metals that you're breathing into the body. It very much so could be a problem, especially compounding in the sense of heavy metals, because you're not just peeing those out. They have an affinity for the tissues in the body, and they build up over time. There is conclusive evidence that in addition to nicotine, most e-cigarettes contain and emit all of these numerous potentially toxic substances. So, with all that said, when you look at tobacco, cigarettes, and e-cigarettes, yes, there is a meeting in the middle of the Venn diagram where they both share different toxic chemicals. But there is substantial evidence that except for nicotine, under typical conditions, exposure to potentially toxic substances from e-cigarettes is still going to be lower than tobacco cigarettes. So at face value, it's still better to smoke e-cigarettes than tobacco cigarettes. But you need all of the information to make an informed decision. So does vaping cause cancer? Well, actually, there was an interesting retrospective cross-sectional study by the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey database between 2015 and 2018. They looked at 154,856 participants. Of those, 5% were e-cigarette users. 31.4% were traditional smokers, and 63.6% were non-smokers. But in the e-cigarette users, they found that they had a lower prevalence of cancer compared to traditional smoking, but they were diagnosed with cancer at a younger age. Among cancer subtypes, cervical cancer, leukemia, skin cancer, and thyroid cancer had a higher prevalence in e-cigarettes compared to traditional smoking. The analysis showed that e-cigarette users have about a 2.2 times higher risk of having cancer compared to non-smokers, especially at a young age. So it's really important to consider that smoking vapes isn't a benign process. You are at risk for cancer, especially at a younger age. And this is a retrospective study. It's a fairly strong study, but it raises a lot of those red flags that I just mentioned. But why? Well, I just mentioned what's in the vape. It becomes combusted, and it gets into the aerosolized smoke that you're putting into your body. That aerosolized smoke has those chemicals that are carcinogenic to the cells. They have the ability to mutate DNA. And over time, if it's mutating DNA over and over, it can cause dysfunction to the tumor protective processes that our cells are always realizing to keep us healthy. So e-cigarette users may be exposed to these highly reactive oxygen species that are activated in that heating element and aerosolized, and we're breathing it in. And this is the process that is driving cancer. And as per the American Cancer Association, although the term vapor may sound harmless, the aerosolized smoke that comes out of there, as I said, is not just water. It can contain nicotine and all these substances that can cause lung cancer, but also connected to not only that, heart disease and other cancers, as I just mentioned. The volatile organic compounds can also irritate the eyes, the nose, and the throat, cause headaches, cause nausea, and actually predisposes the liver, the kidney, and the nervous system to damage. Also, the flavoring chemicals, some of the flavoring chemicals are more toxic than the others. And studies have showed that some of the flavors contain different levels of chemicals called diacetyl that have been linked to serious lung diseases like bronchiolitis. Now, there's also formaldehyde in there. This is a cancer-causing, we know this causes cancer. It's a cancer-causing substance that may form if e-liquids overheat or not enough liquid is reaching the heating element, known as the dry puff. It's important to know that most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, and a lot of teenagers and high schoolers are smoking vapes, these e-cigarettes. And we know that nicotine is harmful for the brain. And especially in teenagers, their brain is developing up till the age of 20. A CDC study found that 99% of e-cigarettes sold in assessed venues in the United States contain nicotine. They also found that some vape products that say there's no nicotine, 0%, contain nicotine. What else was found? Each time basically a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections happen in the brain. And they synapse, right? They connect. Young people's brains build synapses faster than adult brains, right? Nicotine changes the way these synapses are formed. It affects it. So using nicotine as an adolescent may actually increase the risk of future addiction to other drugs as well. So for many years, I've been talking about water quality. It's a pillar. You want to make sure you're getting a good one. There's always been, year after year, the most affordable, bang for the buck, quality water filter. And it's the AquaTrue. For what you get for that price, it is the best of the best. It's easy to use. You just stick the new filters in for replacement and you're good to go. It's also important to know that you're getting clean water. Unfortunately, according to extensive research by the Environmental Working Group, 3 out of 4 homes in America have harmful contaminants in the tap water. That's where AquaTrue comes in. AquaTrue purifiers have 4-stage reverse osmosis purification process, removing 15 times more contaminants than any ordinary pitcher. And it's designed to combat chemicals that are adulterating your water supply. It's proprietary purification technologies independently tested by IAPMO to NSF and ANSI standards to remove over 80% of the most harmful contaminants, including chlorine, fluorine, arsenic, PFAS, forever chemicals, nitrates, and many more. Their countertop purifiers work with no installation or plumbing, and the filters are affordable while lasting 6 months to 2 years. Just one set of filters from their classic purifiers makes the equivalent of 4,500 bottles of water. Plus, you save the environment for tons of plastic waste. AquaTrue comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. And with this holiday season around the corner, it makes a great gift. Go get the AquaTrue. It's one of the best products that you can have in your household. Today, you, the Heal Thyself listener, receives 20% off of any AquaTrue purifier. Just go to aquatrue.com, that's AQUATRU.com, and enter the code DRG at checkout. You're gonna get 20% off of any AquaTrue water purifier when you go to aquatrue.com. Use the code DRG. LMNT is a tasty electrolyte drink with everything you need. That means lots of salt and no sugar. It contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. No sugar, no artificial coloring, artificial ingredients, gluten, or fillers. LMNT is formulated for anyone's lifestyle. It's super important to replenish electrolytes, whether it's you working out early in the morning, you just came out of the sauna, whatever it is, replenishing yourself with electrolytes is essential to avoid things like headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. I have felt so much better since using LMNT to my routine. I started with my sauna. Now I do it every single day. It's the first thing I put in my water every morning. Right now, LMNT is offering you, the Heal Thyself listener, a free sample pack with any purchase. That is 8 single-serving packs free with any LMNT order. It's a great way to try all 8 flavors. Figure out which one's your favorite and go get that box. Get yours at drinklmnt.com/DRG. The deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/DRG. You're gonna love it. You're gonna feel better. LMNT offers no questions asked refunds, totally risk-free. If you don't like it, you're gonna get your money back, no questions asked. You have nothing to lose and just hydration to gain. If you are a teenager, this is why you shouldn't vape. It's important to know that most e-cigarettes contain addictive nicotine. And there's evidence that nicotine harms the brain development of teenagers, which is developing up to the age of 20. About 99% of e-cigarettes out there contain nicotine. And it's been found that the e-cigarettes that say there's 0% nicotine actually also contain nicotine. Each time we create a new memory or skill, we create strong connections in our brain. Young people's brains build these connections faster than adult brains. Nicotine changes the way these synapses are formed. So it disrupts the way the brain is developing, the way it's forming memories, and using nicotine in adolescence may also increase the risk of future addiction to other drugs. So should teens use vapes? The answer is unequivocally no. So some upside, FDA has been regulating vapes since 2016. Of note, there's been different studies that have shown that vapes are actually a helpful aid in smoking cessation. But you really shouldn't compare smoking to vapes. They're 2 different animals. And when you look at it in a vacuum, both are harmful to the health. The good news is that the CDC released a study that showed among high school students currently that the use of tobacco products declined from 2022 to 2023, which was primarily driven by a decline in e-cigarette use from 14% to 10%. The declines also came from combustible tobacco products like cigars and cigarettes, but it's just good to know that teenagers are smoking less. So you may vape, you may know someone that vapes, you may have exposure to secondhand vape. So we know that this is affecting our respiratory system, right? Our lungs, our bronchioles, it's getting into our blood. So we want to make sure we're protecting our lungs. And as a bonus, it's cold and flu season is coming. So we want to make sure we're protecting our lungs overall. I'm going to give you the best strategies. When you think about really powerful supplements out there, This is the way that herbs work. Essentially, herbs have hundreds of constituents, hundreds of ingredients. It has a big ingredient list. If you think of like something like echinacea, there's a big ingredient list of constituents. Many of these constituents are active, right? They're therapeutic constituents. All of them work together, but some of them more than the others are shown to have an affinity for different parts of the body. So some herbs have an affinity for the brain, some for the lungs, some for the liver, some for the spleen, some for the kidneys, and so on. So what I want to go over today are some of the best herbs that have the strongest affinity for the lungs, for the respiratory system. One of my favorite ones, that has been my favorite one since school, is licorice. If you are not using licorice and you are getting cold and flu, or someone is smoking a vape and it's affecting your lungs in your household, you need to get on licorice. Not only is it an antiviral, an immunoregulatory botanical, meaning it balances your immune system, it helps stimulate the immune function of the lymphocytes. This is producing antibodies against microbes or breaking down and cleaning up any nasties that you're getting from exposure from the air, the chemicals. It keeps inflammation in check too, right? So it doesn't create a massive inflammatory process in your body. So when you think about those active ingredients, the one that is in licorice is called glycyrrhizin. And that's really one of the most powerful ones because it doesn't only work on the lungs, it also works on the adrenals. That means if you're extra stressed, if you're around a bunch of sick people, if someone around you is smoking a vape, if you're smoking a vape, this is going to protect your body from mounting so much of a stress response, and it's going to protect your adrenals to become more resilient. It's an adaptogen while reducing inflammation. So it hits you on many different levels. Now, I will say this as a side note. If you have high blood pressure, you want to get deglycerinated licorice because it has the risk to increase your blood pressure. Now, the antiviral activity in licorice is amazing. It's been demonstrated to have antiviral activity against herpes simplex virus, influenza, rotavirus, respiratory syncytial virus, varicella zoster virus, Coxsackie virus, and other common viral infections that you're going to get in the winter that a lot of us get sick from. So it's amazing stuff. It is today in 2023, my number one. I really love licorice. So we're also going to talk about an OG. Everyone knows this one, and it's an OG because it works, vitamin C. It protects your DNA, it protects your RNA, and it protects it from viral destruction or viral infiltration, right? Because that's what they do. They literally go into the cell and go into your DNA or RNA and actually affect the way the cell is expressing. Viruses are crazy. But chemicals also affect the DNA and the RNA, right? That you're going to get from combustible cigarettes or cigarette smoke. So vitamin C protects you as an antioxidant to those reactive oxygen species that are being produced from an infection or chemical. Vitamin C is also immunomodulatory, so it can increase your immune system or reduce it. It also helps support immune cells like leukocytes, increases lymphocytes, and macrophages that are going to eat up all that crap in your body, those cells or those chemicals. Helps produce leukocytes. Vitamin C improves the movement of cells towards their target to kill all those bugs or kill any of those chemicals that are really floating around. So it's amazing stuff. And it really helps support your immune system and multiple cells of the immune system. So it's amazing, amazing stuff. You should be on vitamin C. A lot of us have really low vitamin C, especially in the winter. Here's a nice little combination that no one talks about. Vitamin A and glutathione. Glutathione, you may know in its liposomal form that we use for the liver, but it's also actually protectant for the lung, the respiratory tract of the lung. It's actually inherent there. It is the way the lung protects itself from oxidation. It's an antioxidant we find in the lungs, as is vitamin A. So my colleague Ben Lynch is a big fan of these two agents in the prevention of pneumonia. So really, if you have a predisposition, if you have constitutionally weak lungs and you're getting sick every single year, or if you had a pneumonia in the past, or you get bronchitis, this combination might be something you really want to speak to your doctor about. Now, we've seen vitamin A can reduce the risk from respiratory tract infections. But for glutathione, we also see in animals with pulmonary damage from a virus, it actually dramatically decreases in pulmonary glutathione. right? That's inherent in the lungs and creates high amounts of oxidative stress. So glutathione is going to quench and reduce that inflammation and that oxidative stress in the lungs. And it's going to prevent that redox imbalance that is causing the reduction in the antioxidants and really ultimately the inflammation that you're going to see in the lungs. So glutathione, like I said, is not just for the liver detoxification, it's for the lung protection. It's an inhibitor of inflammation, and it also helps regulate the innate immunity in the lungs to protect you from viruses and, again, any of the chemicals that you're breathing in. One of my favorite ones is reishi. It's an anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant. It's also high in polysaccharides. The polysaccharides, the coating of the reishi molecule that when you bring it into your body, it's recognized by the immune system and it becomes immunomodulatory. It helps turn up the immune system or turn it down if it needs to. Polysaccharides give signals to the immune system, and it's powerful because it not only does that systemically, but it also helps promote a healthy gut microbiome. Remember, the gut and the microbiome and the immune system are all intimately tied together. So it's protecting the body from pathogens and viral invaders, but it's also creating the integrity of the gut barrier function, the lymphoid tissue, right, that is rich with cells that are helping protect you from these invasions in the gut, and really playing important roles in regulating the inflammation and the immune response. So reishi is amazing stuff. The active ingredient, the terpenoids in there, suppress the production of tumor necrosis factor alpha. That is the constituent that is a molecule that is causing inflammation in the body. It has antiviral activity. It helps block cellular uptake of viral particles. As I said, the viruses get into the DNA. It blocks that. It reduces the viral replication that happens in the cells. It prevents the virus from budding in the host cell. It basically protects your cells from viral invasion. It's amazing stuff. You got to be taking this stuff in the winter. So there you have it. Those are some of my top ones for 2023, how to protect your lungs from not only viruses or bacteria, but also how to protect your lungs from environmental toxins, right? Even going outside, if you live in a city, you want to make sure your lung and liver health is a top priority. If you're living in the city and you know someone in your family or your close circle is always smoking, you're being exposed, you want to make sure you're protecting your lungs and your liver. The best part is a lot of these that I mentioned for the lungs also protect the liver. So go ahead, talk to your doctor, and if it seems right for you, start taking these to protect yourself as you're coming into cold and flu season, and protecting yourself from all those environmental toxins. If you're looking for the best place to find all of these supplements, go to SwellScore. It's handpicked. We found the best of the best. It's easy. It's high integrity. I mean, there's no other reason. If you're not on SwellScore, then you're late. Get on it. Swellscore.com. Check it out. Really hope you enjoyed this episode. Your lungs are going to thank you. Your liver is going to thank you. Maybe your child might thank you if you get them off the vape. So I hope that was informative for you to bring some light into where we stand with e-cigarettes and where we're going and how to communicate this with your loved ones.